Alrighty guys, today's going to be a video for my train-loving people, as well as high-up officials who work within government agencies that deal with trains, right? What do you do with your old stock after you bring in the newer, more advanced stock? Well, a lot of people all around the world are throwing away their old carriages, such as here in San Francisco. On the right is the newer stock, but on the left is the old BART system. I've been on that system many times when I visited San Fran. Great little system, but obviously as time goes on, you need to replace older stock, no doubt. You could refurbish what's there, right? You could absolutely refurbish and make it newer, but it comes a point in time where you just need to get rid of the old stock, potentially because of, body issues, rusting or whatever, all right? It just has to happen at some point. Now, there are alternatives to actually scrapping it. Now, I'm a Sydney Australian boy myself, and this is a C-set train. We've also got S-sets as well, and unfortunately the majority of them were demolished, just like this BART right here. Take a look at this. This is them sending the BART to the shop, basically taking it on the road, transportation, blah, 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 right, to the place where it will never live once again. All right, it will never, that makes no sense, but it will never be a train once again. It's such a sad thing to see. Yes, they sell it for scrap, they make money, but they're making the bare minimum. You've got to think about the long-term effects. What could we do with this train carriage that would not only give us more money in the long term, but it would be better for the city, right? There is a terrible housing crisis happening all around the world. There is too many people needing accommodation, needing to buy a house or renting a house, right? This quite simply isn't enough living space on Earth. Now we're going to get around to that in a second. There's this video that I'm going to shock you in a second. Before I show you that, this is my Sydney S-set train getting demolished in Sydney. It's pretty terrible to look at from my point of view, because I've ridden on these trains for so long. 20, 25 years, 30 years I've been riding on these trains. So to see this is absolutely terrible. It's heartbreaking in a way, right? But there's this one video I want to show you, and it's going to shock you. Take a look at this, all right? This is a diesel carriage dragging behind Eurostar. Now this train, if anyone doesn't know, goes from England to France, England, Europe. They go all around Europe, between England and Europe, right, kind of thing. This train is getting taken to scrap right now. This was filmed by some YouTuber in England. Look at this thing. This thing looks like it was invented, looks like it was made 5 years ago, if that. This thing is modern as fuck. And it's going to be taken to scrap. Ultimately, this train no longer exists anymore. This is a high-speed train, and they're selling it to scrap. Imagine what you could do with this train. Wow, I'm going to show you some things in a second, but wow, what a train to be ripping up. That's just fucking terrible. All right, there are countries such as India. India would love a train like that. All right, give them the train, let them buy the train secondhand. Their trains over there in some parts of India are fucking terrible. Other parts like New Delhi, they've got such an amazing brand new metro system. I've been there, I've ridden on it with my mum. Incredible. Their metro system in Delhi beats many other countries' metro systems. It's incredible what they're doing there. But there are other parts in India and Bangladesh and wherever else that have terrible 50, 60, 70-year-old trains that are falling apart. And they would absolutely love a Eurostar train to run on the tracks. Sure, there'll probably be gauge issues, but you can absolutely adopt bigger, broader gauge or narrower gauge. You can do that. It can easily be done, right? Making that go to scrap, oh man, that gets my panties in a bunch, I'm telling you. Woo! That's terrible. Now, there's this thing I wanted to show you regarding the San Francisco BART. These are the new trains, these are the ones that are going for scrap. Thankfully, there are some people in the San Francisco area high up that control the BART system that are actually saving some of these carriages, right? Have a look at this. Retired BART cars being repurposed into arcades, beer gardens, and more. This is amazing. This is culturally significant for the city that this is in, right? You go to San Francisco, you know what a BART car looks like because you've either seen it on TV or you've been there before. You know, or the locals, fuck the tourists, right? The locals want to see their own history in their city. This is incredible. Look at this. I'm not going to read much of this, but I will read this, all right? These cars are iconic to the Bay Area and to the people that not only live in the Bay Area now, but grew up riding these BART cars. We'd like to see them given a new life. We'd like to see them repurposed and have people continue to enjoy these cars. So where are these retired BART cars going? Some of them, right? And how will they be fabulously refurbished? Well, there's a few different BART cars that have been sent to two different people, apparently. There's this one BART car will be turned into an arcade. Wow! I would travel around the world and film that for my Channel 1 YouTube channel. We're on two different channels, by the way, but I would go over there to San Francisco just to film that. Play pinball inside of an old BART carriage. That would become a tourist attraction within itself, right? Now, there are also other things. I'm not going to read much more than this, but there's this Oakland Stadium. All right, they also won. They won a car. And they're going to use this car for a beer garden or something like that, right? Incredible. The situation is limitless kind of thing, right? It's Bradley Cooper limitless what you can do with these things. Plan and then drag it towards your final destination, and then wow, set up a community around it, right? Incredible. Now, housing is a human right, all right? Like I said, the housing crisis is terrible. There are more people than there is houses and apartments and buildings for them to live in, right? It's terrible. Now, take a look at this. Homelessness. Terrible. Absolutely dreadful, right? There's something going around like wildfire on the internet right now called tiny houses. People love tiny houses, and I mean, they're good for the environment, right? Because you can fit many of them in, and you can make them extremely stylish. This was one of the least stylish I could find on the internet. The majority of them don't even look like containers, like shipping containers, right? They actually look like houses, but these are shipping containers. I should have found another photo. I should have given you guys another photo as an example, but I mean, this is just one example of a shipping container, right? Why not? Why not get these trains that were destined for scrap and convert them into living quarters? You take them on the truck and you take them to your location, right? Wow. Incredible. Now, these two trains I just showed you were some of Sydney's trains. I've got a couple right here. This is a double-story passenger train called Red Rattler. It's called something else, but that was in Sydney. We also have this one right here, which is a single-story Red Rattler. This one right here was actually the first double-decker passenger train in the world, I'm pretty sure. In Sydney, Australia, I've got a few models here, right? I've been in a caboose. Me and my parents, we went to America many years ago, and we stayed overnight in a caboose. Wow, this was so much fun staying the night in this thing. We slept in there and woke up the next morning and couldn't believe we were in a freaking train car having a sleep. Like, wow, this was amazing. People go to these places just for that, right? It's a tourist magnet trap. Tourist trap, tourist magnet. It attracts tourists like a moth to a flame, all right? Incredible. So this is Sydney. This is somewhere in Australia, I'm guessing. This is Sydney's old Red Rattler trains, right? This is another picture of, some farm utilizing an old carriage that have been in Sydney's train network for, 50 years or so. Another example, Sydney train. But the situation is, this is limitless, right? You could turn this into a bed and breakfast, into a hotel, into whatever you wanted. I didn't find the photo. There's some photos of inside these things, right? I didn't find the photo, but on the Sunset Strip in Los Angeles, there's a famous yellow sleeper car, I'm pretty sure, on the Sunset Strip. You guys have seen it, right? If you've ever been to Hollywood, you've driven past it or walked past it. Very long train passenger cars sitting on the Sunset Strip. Very famous. Look how cozy these situations are. There's the door, right? Just remove my face for a second. Amazing. I would pay to spend the night there. You can even turn a train carriage into a bridge. The possibilities are endless. I would visit this country if I had the money, and if COVID wasn't around. I would visit this country and film it for my Channel 1, all right? Just to see this. I would walk across this and make a video about it, and no doubt within a year or so it would go 1 million plus views. People are interested in this. And to basically chop these trains up, I mean, it's terrible. Now, I know there are so many train carriages that ultimately need to be scrapped. I understand that obviously some need to be scrapped. I don't know how much some is, right? But I understand. I'm not saying every single train car needs to be scrapped. I'm obviously not. But a lot of them need to be saved for cultural significance, for railway museums, right? For tourist attractions, local barcades. I mean, look at this. Wow. That's amazing. I'm not too sure if that's a double-decker train or if that's a train being elevated with a lower floor added. I think it's a one-story train with a lower floor added, and they're somehow suspending it up in there. I'm not too sure how. But there's another caboose, right? Something similar to what me, my mum, and myself stayed in overnight. This looks like a church. This looks like a church. You could turn your old rail car into church. Possibilities are endless. Another caboose, right? I love this photo. Wow. I'm not too sure where this is, but I think this, looks like America somewhere, but Boston? I don't know. Imagine having that set up somewhere, right? It would be the center of attention in that city for the nightlife. Like, you know, there's a saying in Sydney's town hall, right? I'll meet you at town hall steps. I'll meet you at the steps, all right? It's a saying that everyone knows. I'll meet you at the steps at town hall. Everyone knows where to meet you. It's at the massive town hall steps outside town hall station, right? Well, this would become a new saying, right? In this city, this location. I'll meet you at the train carriage. Let's have drinks tonight at the train carriage. Let's have dinner. Let's have a disco party, whatever. I mean, the options are limitless, right? Let's have it at the train carriage. Everyone in that city, the nightlife people, would probably know where about that is, right? It would become a cultural phenomenon. Tourists around the country and around the world would come to see these things. Removing the sides. I mean, wow, it opens it up. It's still very much a train car. I'm very much against removing damaging trains, but still, I mean, that's incredible. That's amazing. I actually love that they've opened it up like that. All right. Now, this may shock you. Are you ready for this? There is the Sydney monorail, which I have a model, an actual working model, which I might add. I've added 2 extra carriages, so it's got 2 extra carriages on there. This thing actually runs with power. But anyway, there's the Sydney monorail that me and my girlfriend went on the very last day before it was torn away, torn down forever, which I think was terrible. Shouldn't have happened, right? Google.com have offices in Sydney, Australia. They ended up buying a couple of carriages, maybe more, I can't remember now. They ended up lifting these carriages into their Google.com building in Sydney. I still haven't seen this, unfortunately. I'm kind of regretting that. I should go on the train right now and bring my little things with me as well, because I'm a 5-year-old kid, but don't do that. I would want to go there right now just because I thought about it. That's actually awesome. I would love to see that someday. All right. The situation is, talk to your local government. If you're someone who's watching this and you're thinking, Gareth, that's an amazing idea. Why aren't more people doing it? Talk to your local government. Talk to the people in charge of the trains in your city, in your region, right? Strongly suggest multiple people, hopefully strongly suggest to the right people, that what these trains mean to us is everything, right? These trains have been a part of our city, a part of our culture for decades, most likely in some cases, decades and decades, right? trashing them forever is terrible. Obviously, you can't keep all of them. There's too much. There's too many of them. But hopefully, a lot of them can be saved, preserved for future, museums and future rail rides, old rides, kind of thing, right? A lot of these can hopefully be used in situations for clubs and pubs and barcades and, the cricket stadium, not the cricket stadium, the massive stadium we just showed you guys. Where was it? Here it is. Hang on. Boom, boom, boom. Where is it? Hang on. Yeah. These guys, this stadium, Oakland Stadium, is going to be using one of these. Wow. I would go to Oakland Stadium just to see that, right? Make it happen. If you're someone in charge, see this and realize that if it goes to the scrap heap, you've lost a piece of your city's history forever. And that's, in a way, that's cultural terrorism. That's fucking cultural terrorism. Public transport terrorism. Don't let that happen. If you're someone who sees this, don't let it happen. All right. I love you guys. We're on 2 different channels, 2 and 1. We make 5 videos a week, Monday to Friday, right here in the studio. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, @TallBoyGareth. I've been tall. My name's Gareth, and I hope you liked the video. See you tomorrow. Bye.